right. Welcome back into Call What You Want. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie Davies and Tony Miola, and we're going to welcome in our special guest. He is the pride of High Points, played college soccer at North Carolina, was one of the state's greatest players. He obviously was a decorated MLS player, played in 3 World Cups for the U.S., and now he is the sporting director for the Carolina Core and MLS Next Pro. It's Eddie Pope. Eddie, great to see you.
Good to see you, man. I don't know if I can match your energy, but it's definitely great to see you.
Listen, you were my favorite center back to play with, so we're gonna get that easy rapport going. Yeah. So let's just start with what you're doing first right now. Carolina Core sporting director, getting to see the game from a different level. You and I got to see the game from an MLS and U.S. men's national team perspective for a long time. How does the game look from this position in MLS Next Pro?
Well, I think it looks great, and I do think that MLS Next Pro is a great stepping stone to MLS. I think it's a much-needed sort of, entry level for some players, especially going from MLS Next. There's not that huge jump to MLS. They've got somewhere that they can go apply their trade a little bit, get more coaching, get more training, get more games, and make that transition a little bit easier. So from my standpoint, I just think it's a great move from MLS to provide MLS Next Pro.
Has any of this been tough, making this transition into sort of this part of the game where you're sort of, I don't want to say feeder program, but I don't have a better word, right, for the league and growing, growing these players to get to the next level? What's been the most difficult part?
I think, just having the understanding, as Jimmy said earlier, for all of us on this, we've played at high levels, and you have to understand that, the players, they haven't been there yet. And so your expectations have to be measured. I think there's a lot more coaching than I realized, working with players. Some things you think that they know, but they just don't know it yet. So I think having patience with them, helping them understand that everybody's journey is different. Everybody wants that, I want to play for a year and now I want to move on and go to the next level. So really helping them manage their own expectations has been a little bit of a challenge. So I'd say those things. But I think the talent is there. The talent level's really, really good when we're playing these matches. I'm watching games. It's really a positive thing, and I've really enjoyed it.
Eddie, I think what strikes me most about you is your high IQ of the game. Obviously, you were an incredible center back. But you've done a lot. You've been an agent. You've worked with the Players Association. Now you're as a sporting director. So you've kind of had an experience in every facet of the game. How has that helped you in your role today? And where do you think the game can still improve with MLS Next Pro?
Well, each of those things have certainly helped me sort of become a chief sporting officer. I think especially the business side of it, with working at the Players Association, understanding the collective bargaining agreement, the rules, contracts, the way they're supposed to look, what should be in them, what shouldn't be in them, what's fair to players. As the game is growing, how do the players also grow with the game? And then there's the other side of the fence. But now, you have to understand what owners want, what ownership desires. They have financial responsibilities as well. They have employees that they have to take care of. So I think it's all kind of helped me understand both sides of the fence. And without, I would say, the Players Association and being an agent, I don't know that I would have understood it all.
Right.
Now, Eddie, I just to piggyback off of that, given where you are in the quote unquote pyramid of the game, what do you determine success as the chief sporting officer, and what do your owners expect or define as success? Is it moving players along? Is it winning? Is it both? Is both even possible when you're kind of
how's it weighted?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
Red dot and green dot. No, isn't it?
Yeah.
we got Luis Robles joining the show. No,
that's the question, right? And I think for each team it can be different. I think in MLS Next Pro, obviously we want to make sure that we're developing players and moving them on to the next level. We're an independent team, meaning we aren't tied to any MLS clubs. So our goal is to, at the end of the day, try to move some of our players on to MLS clubs. Every time that they play, we tell the players, you're showcasing your skills, your talent to other MLS teams. So at the end of the day, there's a goal that's certainly reachable for them. And then, of course, your ownership, they want to develop players, but they also want to win games. We're fortunate that we have a fantastic home crowd. So we want to make sure that we're winning games at home. that the fans are enjoying themselves. We're creating a fantastic game day atmosphere, all those things. So it's the answer to it is really both. But as you guys alluded to, it's really hard to do both. And so we're trying to figure out what that balance is and how we get that right.
Eddie, what's the sort of off the field type of stuff at your club, right? Because we know when you're a pro, there's training, and then there's the rest of life to continue to be a pro, even when you're not staying on the field, right? How much of like the education part of it is your club offering to some of these young players with regards to when we talk about taking care of yourself like a pro?
Well, that's a great point. I mean, one of the things that you certainly have to teach players who are coming out of MLS Next is that it's not a club soccer environment anymore, that now you're a pro, hence the pro in the end. And it is difficult for some of them, to help them understand that how you take care of yourself, that you have to train every day. There's a difference between being injured and being hurt and training hurt, eating right, getting enough sleep, not staying up late, all those things that they sometimes don't realize affect them over the course of an entire season. So there's an educational part for that as well. And I think our club does a fantastic job of some off the field programming, whether it's financial stuff. And I mean, we do that as a club individually. Off the field financing, it could be how to make meals at home. We've had chefs who've come in to try to help some of the younger players understand what they need to eat. So there are a lot of things like that we're trying to help them with. Some of the players who maybe don't speak English, just trying to get English lessons, and things like that. So we try to be somewhat holistic and have a holistic approach. But I think the biggest thing that players at this sort of stage need to learn is how to become a pro and what that looks like.
Eddie, I'm curious in terms of like difficulties recruiting, because Carolina Core is not an MLS club or a pathway to a direct MLS, club. You look at North Carolina FC and USL. How much are they trying to take from the same pool of players that you are recruiting from, and what does that dynamic look like? What are the strengths of playing with the Carolina Core versus going the USL route?
Yeah, I mean it's a and don't forget Charlotte down to the south as well, right? So it's like we're all sort of fighting over these groups of players. Certainly we have MLS Next, so we have 13s, 14s, we're adding 15s. So we don't quite have a full academy as of yet. That will smooth things out a little bit. But before that happens, right, we're fighting for the same young players. And, we have a great scout in Andy Williams, who all of you know from the Jamaican national team. He's done a fantastic job. He was at Real Salt Lake as a scout for almost a decade. He is just in this car all the time, beating the streets. And so we're trying to find different pockets of players. And Jim, we talked about earlier, it could be USL 1 players, it could be USL 2 players, it could be players in Europe who maybe fallen out with their teams in second, third, fourth divisions. American kids who were in the draft who maybe fell out of the draft a little bit. And of course, kids who are in academies, maybe they're not happy at their academy. And their team is willing to let them go. And then we have open tryouts as well. I would say one of our best players came in a local open tryout.
Oh, wow.
We often talk about the Latino players who are off in their own leagues playing, and it's hard to really connect with them by having that sort of free pathway. We've pulled in some kids from there. So it really is just a variety of different avenues that we've been able to find players.
Well, Eddie, we're thrilled that you're in the trenches trying to make the game as good as it possibly can be, especially in an area of the country where you're from, which I know that growing up probably didn't have a lot of the games, similar to even in my area in LA where you think there'd be a lot.
Hey, stop that. I grew up in New Hampshire. I don't want to hear nothing about you guys not having the game. Stop it right now.
All right, fine. All right. But let's pivot to the national team.